someone else to tell me that that is who I am. I can decide for myself. Secondly, the second quality is that she wishes to define her life by what she gives rather than what she gets. Because if you actually look at the world around you, success today, purpose today is defined by what you have. We are told from the moment we are born that we should dream of a large house and a fast car, but we never actually imagine what these things mean. We never actually understand or ask, is this truly what gives me meaning? Is this truly what gives me purpose? And do you know what? To question these things, you are automatically considered somewhat stupid, because the wise thing to do is to be unquestionably selfish. And I don't think that's true online either, because I think in the best examples on the digital world, not in all of them, but in some, we truly measure people by what they create. Even if you've never done anything before, even if you have nothing to your name, if you make something wonderful, people will care. And thirdly, and I think this one's really important, she believes that her identity should be defined by herself. Her identity should be in her own hands and be defined in a forward-looking capacity. Now you may say, yeah, this is obvious. Of course our identity should be defined by ourselves. But I'd like to ask you a question. What is the primary document of your identity? What do you carry around that says who you are? Your passport, your ID card? What do these things say on them? They say your name, your age, where you were born, how old you are. How many of those did you choose? How many of those were at all in your hands? How can we define identity by things you have nothing to do with, you have no control over? Seems like a pretty big deal to me. Now, you may say, oh, so it's not like that online? Well, it actually is quite often. If we look at Facebook, the world's largest social network, your Facebook profile is still defined by the same things. It's defined by your name, your age, maybe where you went to study. Now, there's an important observation here, that things in the real world can work in a web-age manner. Web-age philosophies can be applied to the physical world, and at the same time, you can create something digital, and it may not have these philosophies at all. So I think these three qualities are really emblematic of our entire generation as a whole. And I think there's something really important about these qualities, because I think they may hold the answers to our future. Because the problems of tomorrow, the challenges which we will face, are going to be varied and complex. We will not be capable of solving them with the same solutions that were sufficient in the past. I call this idea, this recognition, the designer's perspective. What I mean by that is that every aspect of human society, whether it's what a school is, whether it's how a business works, whether it's what a phone is, all of these things that make up our world are solutions. They were solutions to a problem which existed in the past. Sometimes, very often, the circumstances have changed between the time that we invented this thing and the modern day. Very often, the world is a fundamentally different place. Is it not time that the solutions changed when the problems have changed? And I think this perspective is quite important, because I think whoever you are, whatever goal you have, if you believe in something and you think that you want to make something come true, and someone says to you, I'm sorry, that won't work, and you ask why, and the only thing they say is, it's just not the way the world works, well then you know that there's nothing stopping you. Because if the best excuse is that that's just not the way the world works, then there's probably nothing wrong with your new idea or your new perspective. Now, taking into account the value and power of perspectives, I want to bring up a little example which kind of will help you understand how new perspectives can solve problems that seem intractable and difficult. So we said there are two major crises in the world today, right? There's a financial crisis and an environmental crisis. Both are very serious. Okay, now let's just think about both of these things. The financial crisis today, all right, in Spain, there's 25% unemployment. There's 52% youth unemployment, last I checked. Those are pretty big numbers, and these have a tangible effect on human life. This is a whole generation of young people who may never be able to define their own lives by their dreams, who may never be able to economically follow the things they believe in. And let's think about the environment. We've seen countless predictions that in the next 50 and 100 years, the world will pass a radical tipping point, and the way that we live today may not at all be sustainable. How can we solve these problems? We have a bunch of people who would love to do something with their lives but can't, because no one will hire them. And we have a huge planet-wide problem, but we don't have the people and the time and the energy to solve it. How can we fix those things, I wonder? What if we put them together? And you might say, oh, how can unemployed people in Spain fix the environment? Well, they can't today, But what if they were educated? What if the information they need was given to them? What if there was a worldwide system for sharing information? Oh, we do have that. It's called the internet. So who are the purveyors of knowledge in the world? Whose job is it to educate people today? Universities. Can I ask you what a university defines its success by? What makes a good university? Does anyone know? Exclusivity. A great university is one that doesn't allow in many people. Shouldn't they be doing the opposite? Shouldn't they be educating as many people as possible? Shouldn't they be spreading knowledge so that humanity can face the challenges ahead of us? But their perspective is totally wrong. Their perspective is a perspective built on pre-web age philosophy, on a world of hierarchies, where a few people can have the best education, not everyone, and where information is highly valuable. So we charge a lot for it. But you know, it's really funny to think of information as being really valuable. I mean, that's how everything around you is designed right now. That's how schools are designed. That's how universities are designed. But information is not very valuable today. We live in the information age. Information is abundant. When something becomes abundant, it becomes valueless, or nearly valueless. Today, and this is a message to the teachers everywhere in this auditorium, and who might be listening to this elsewhere, you have to teach people how to use information. You can't just teach them information. You have to take into account that today every single one of us has one of these in our pockets. You know, we have the whole world with us all the time. Why aren't we being taught to use that? Why are we being taught in the same manner as 30 and 50 years ago? And the last thing that I really want to say is that I want to bring all these ideas, these little things we've gone into here and there back, and look back at our original question, and look at the two questions we tried to ask and answer, and then go to the third one, which we haven't gone to yet. So the first two were, who are we and what is our world? And I think we understand this a bit more now. We understand what defines the web generation, and we understand what the world around us is like, what the problems it might have are. But where are we going? What is our destination? And you know how I talked about perspectives, and I talked about stories and a heroic story. Well, do any of you know what a hero does in a story, what the point is, why they exist? Well, in a heroic story, a hero goes out, they experience something new, they venture into the unknown, and they come back with some newfound knowledge, some newfound treasure, something they discovered. Well, although none of you may know this yet, every single member of our generation has done that. We have all experienced the beginnings of something new. We have all gone out into this brave new digital age and discovered the beginnings of a new world. It's our job, it's our privilege and opportunity to bring that knowledge back and change the way that our world works. And you may ask now, what is the destination? What is our goal? What is the world that we will build? Well, I think I can't answer that for you. I don't think any one person can. But I think realizing that no one person can answer what the job and goal of our generation is, I think that realization holds a lot of the answers we're looking for. Because I think the world that our generation will build will be defined by diversity, by a profound diversity. I don't mean diversity of nation or diversity of age or gender. I mean a diversity of success, a diversity of what life is actually for, of what it is okay to go after in life, a diversity of what dreams are worth chasing. And I think there's no goal more wonderful than that. Because imagine if everyone around you could truly feel comfortable and truly feel happy doing the things that they love and the things they believe in. So all I hope is that each of you will consider that perhaps we can all be the heroes of our generation. We can all play a role in shaping tomorrow. Because we have the ideas, we have the perspectives, we have the beginning. We can shape what that ending is. And talking about endings, I want to go back to that story that I told earlier on of the 16-year-old girl. And I want to ask you, how do you think that story ends? How do you think it will end? I don't know. But I hope that because of the amazing sharing of knowledge and passion and dreams and love and support that is possible today, when 2 billion people are combined, I hope that she will find the people who care about the same things that she do, and she will build a better world.